We have, would you please come up and use the microphone? You can introduce yourself if you want to.
My name is Ron Berglas. I'm the chair of the English department at Citrus Continuation High School in Fontana. I'm an adjunct professor of acting and theater at San Bernardino Valley College, and I'm a broadcaster and producer for KVCR TV and radio in San Bernardino. I've come here today to ask you to agree to incorporate a component presently missing in the curriculum studied by future LMFT'S. That component is parental alienation and the specific diagnostic indicators that would readily indicate the presence of a highly toxic and enmeshed relationship between the child or children and one or other parent, leading to a complete excision of the other parent from the children's lives. In some circles, it is called a parentectomy. I am aware that the subject of parental alienation has come before you before, but always followed by the word syndrome. You will notice that I have not used that word since its inclusion has served only to cloud the issue, preventing the therapeutic community from educating itself in this terrible trauma. The time to take action is now, and I will tell you why. I have brought with me today, and I'll hand it out to you in a moment, a white paper written by Dr. Jennifer Harmon, PhD, from the University of Colorado. Her recently published book entitled Parents Behaving Badly is about parental alienation. In her book, she quotes from a study conducted by herself and others that starkly illustrates how widespread the spread of parental alienation has become. Indeed, there are so many people going through parental alienation in this country that it has become an accepted byproduct of divorce in spite of the destruction it causes. I've brought copies of that white paper and the diagnostic indicators needed to accurately recognize the symptoms of parental alienation. Like myself and so many others, including Dr. William Burnett, the Professor Emeritus of Psychiatry at Vanderbilt University in Tennessee, Linda Case Gottlieb in New York, who was mentored by Salvador Minuchin, and Dr. Amy Baker, Dr. Harmon strongly believes that if therapists could be educated not only in parental alienation, but also in how to properly diagnose it and report it to the court, specifically labeled as psychological child abuse, then millions of families throughout the country might be saved from this terrible blight. Dr. Edward Crook, PhD, in an article in Psychology Today wrote, quote, "There is now scholarly consensus that severe alienation is abusive to children, and it is a largely overlooked form of child abuse, as child welfare and divorce practitioners are often unaware of or minimize its extent. Indeed, many of the groups I spoke with, including the Center for Judicial Excellence, maintain that parental alienation is normally used as a cover by domestic abusers to regain custody in order to carry on abusing. And while that may be true in some cases, the vast majority of parental alienation cases are made up of parents who are angry and bewildered that for reasons incomprehensible to them, their children have turned against them in spite of the warm and loving relationship that previously existed between them. I was one of those parents. Imagine for a moment what it might mean if California were to be the first state in the Union to incorporate parental alienation and its diagnostic indicators into our trainee therapist curriculum. Imagine the knock-on effect throughout the country and the world if we were to be the first to educate our therapists so that they could diagnose parental alienation and stop it before the children become irreparably damaged. The bottom line is that for a child to turn so utterly against a parent is completely counterintuitive. You really do have to teach a child to hate a parent. Even in cases of domestic abuse, most children still want to hold on to some connection with their abuser. Of course, it is up to the courts to prevent that from happening, but to assume that all cases of parental alienation are merely cover for abusers is grossly uninformed and inaccurate. You know, when I ask people whether they've heard of parental alienation, they all say no. Then, after I explain what it is, everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about and eagerly tell me that they have either been through it or know people who have. According to Dr. Burnett and his Parental Alienation Study Group, there is empirical evidence that parental alienation exists in at least 36 different countries. And so I respectfully request that the board agree to agendize this very important subject for a future meeting, and to incorporate the study of parental alienation and its diagnostic components into the curriculum for trainee LMFT'S, so they can make a diagnosis of psychological child abuse and then report it to the court as such, thereby enabling judges to preside over the reunification of families rather than exacerbate their destruction by continuing to leave these poor children in the hands of the very parent who has taught them to hate their other parent. In conclusion, I ask you to think of the impact on families a change in the training of therapists could make, so that all those innocent parents and their extended families, because parental alienation does not just affect the parent, but their entire family. They are all cut off, sometimes for years, sometimes forever, from the warmth, affection, and connection to their grandson or granddaughter, their nephew or niece, all because a child is forced to believe that they no longer want to have anything to do with their father or mother's entire family. Your decision will be that powerful. The ramification of incorporating this component into the trainee therapist curriculum would be profound, and the beneficial effects would be incalculable. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments.
And
Any
Giselle?
other public comments? You have information to pass around, right? What's that? Okay, yeah. Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, so if not, we will adjourn the meeting. The time now is 1:55 p.m. Thank you very much, and we will see you all in May. Thank you.